Okay, Prabhu, you can start now.
Yes, Prabhu. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्दे रूप yeah. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुर श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादां सहगण ललिता विशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयत्. Before reciting this Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is a very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto Nara Narayan, Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Should I continue, Prabhu? Here?
Yes, Prabhu.
श्रृणीवतां स्वकथः कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्णः हृदय अन्तःसो ह्य अभ्रदानि त्रानि. Prabhu, yeah. I completely forgot the tune. हृदय अन्तःस्थो ह्य अभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत् सताम्. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. नष्टप्रायेष्व अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगत भगवत्य उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact.
Haribol, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
jai,
Jai.
Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Prabhu, that shloka, and I'm like, right now experiencing that Shri Krishna clears the desire to enjoy sense gratification and this and that, and like yeah, what to say more? Let's read.
Yes, Prabhu. So who will be first reader today to start chapter
Prabhu,
12?
Prabhu, I want to be the first reader, Prabhu, please.
Yes, Prabhu.
Because like I'll be reading now, it's 7:45. I'll be reading 3, 4, 5 slok up to 8, and then I have to go to So yeah, then I'll be listening.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu, for allowing me. The new chapter. Chapter 12, Birth of Emperor Parikshit. Text 1. Shaunaka Uvacha. अश्वत्थामनो अश्वत्थामनोपश्रष्टेन ब्रह्म शीर्ष्णोरु तेजसा उत्तराय हतो गर्भ ईशना जीवितः पुनः श्री शौनकः उवाच. The sage Shaunak said, Ashwatthama of Ashwatthama, the son of Drona, Upash, Upashrit, Uparishitena. So how to pronounce this? Upashrishtena. Like three dots are, I'm little confused.
Yes, Prabhu. I think you said right. Upasrishtena.
Uparishrish, I'll learn later. By release of Brahma Shirshna, the invincible weapon, Brahmastra. Uru Tejasa by high temperature, Uttaraya of Uttara, mother of Parikshit, Hatha being spoiled, Garbha womb, Ishena by the Supreme Lord, Ajivitaha the brought to life, Punaha again. Translation and puppet by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
The sage Shaunak said, the womb of Uttara, the mother of Maharaj Parikshit, was spoiled by the dreadful and invincible Brahmastra weapon released by Ashwatthama. But Maharaj Parikshit was saved by the Supreme Lord. Okay. The sages assembled in the forest of Naimisharanya inquired from the Suta Goswami about the birth of Maharaj Parikshit. But in course of the narration, other topics like the release of Brahmastra by the son of Drona. Prabhu, just a second, I'll take some water. His punishment by Arjun, Queen Kunti Devi's prayers, the Pandavas' visit to the place where Bhishma Deva was lying, his prayers, and thereafter the Lord's departure for Dwarka were discussed. His arrival at Dwarka and residing with the 16,000 queens, etc., were narrated. They were absorbed in hearing such descriptions, but now they wanted to turn to the original topic, and thus the enquiry was made by Shaunaka Rishi. So the subject of the release of the Brahmastra weapon by Ashwatthama is renewed. Text 2. तस्य जन्म महाबुद्धेः कर्माणि च महात्मनः निधनं च यथैवासित् च निधनं च यथैवासित् सप्रेत्य गतवान् यथा. Tasya, his of Maharaj Parikshit, Janma, birth, Mahabuddhe of great intelligence, Karmani, activities, Cha, also, Mahatmana of the great devotee, Nidhanam, demise, Cha, also, Yatha, as it was, Eva, of course, Asit, happened, Saha, he, Pretya, destination after death, Gatavan, achieved, Yatha, as it were. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. How was the great Emperor Parikshit, who was a highly intelligent and great devotee, born in that womb? How did his death take place, and what did he achieve after his death? Uh, the king of Hastinapur, now Delhi, used to be the emperor of the world, at least till the time of the son of Emperor Parikshit. Maharaj Parikshit was saved by the Lord in the womb of his mother, so he could certainly be saved from an untimely death due to the ill will of the son of a Brahmana. Because the age of Kali began to act just after the assumption of power by Maharaj Parikshit, the first sign of misgivings was exhibited in the cursing of a great, intelligent, and devoted king like Maharaj Parikshit. The king is the protector of the helpless citizens, and their welfare, peace, and prosperity depend on him. Unfortunately, by the instigation of the fallen age of Kali, an unfortunate Brahmana's son was employed to condemn the innocent Maharaj Parikshit, and so the king had to prepare himself for death within 7 days. Maharaj Parikshit is especially famous as one who is protected by Vishnu, and when he was unduly cursed by a Brahmana's son, he could have invoked the mercy of the Lord to save him, but he did not want to because he was a pure devotee. A pure devotee never asks the Lord for any undue favor. Maharaj Parikshit knew that the curse of the Brahmana's son upon him was unjustified, as everyone else knew, but he did not want to counteract it because he knew also that the age of Kali had begun and that the first symptom of the age, namely degradation of the highly talented Brahman community, had also begun. He did not want to interfere with the current of the time, but he prepared himself to meet death very cheerfully and very properly. Being unfortunate, he got at least 7 days to prepare himself to meet death, and so he properly utilized the time in the association of Shukadeva Goswami, the great saint and devotee of the Lord. Text 3. Tad idam shutam ichhamo gaditum yadi manyase bruhinah shrad shraddhananam Shraddhadanam yasa jnanam adachukah. That all idam this shrutum to hear, ichhamah all willing, gaditum to narrate, yadi if, manyase you think, bruhi please speak, nah we, shrad shraddhadanam who are very much respectful. Yasya whose jnanam transcendental knowledge adat delivered Shukah Shri Sukadeva Goswami. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We all respectfully want to hear about him, Maharaj Parikshit, to whom Shukadeva Goswami imparted transcendental knowledge. Please speak on this matter. Purport. Shukadeva Goswami imparted transcendental knowledge to Maharaj Parikshit during the remaining 7 days of his life, and Maharaj Parikshit heard him properly, just like an ardent student, and the effect of such a bona fide hearing and chanting of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam was equally shared by both the hearer and the chanter. Both of them were benefited. Out of the 9 different transcendental means of devotional service of the Lord prescribed in the Bhagavatam, either all of them, or some of them, or even one of them are equally beneficial if properly discharged. Maharaj Parikshit and Sukadeva Goswami were serious performers of the first two important items, namely the process of chanting and the process of hearing, and therefore both of them were successful in their laudable attempt. Transcendental realization is attained by such serious hearing and chanting, and not otherwise. There is a type of spiritual master and disciple, yes, much advertised in this age of Kali. It is said that the master injects spiritual force into the disciple by an electric current generated by the master, and the disciple begins to feel the shock. He becomes unconscious, and the master weeps for his exhausting his store of so-called spiritual assets. Such bogus advertisement is going on in this age, and the poor common man is becoming the victim of such advertisement. We do not find such folk tales in the dealings of Shukadeva Goswami and his great disciple Maharaja Parikshit. The sage recited Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam in devotion, and the great king heard him properly. The king did not feel any shock of electrical current from the master, nor did he become unconscious while receiving knowledge from the master. One should not therefore become a victim of these unauthorized advertisements made by some bogus representative of Vedic knowledge. The sages of Naimisharanya was very respectful in hearing about Maharaj Parikshit because of his receiving knowledge from Shukadeva Goswami uh, by means of ardent hearing. Ardent hearing from the bona fide master is the only way to receive transcendental knowledge, and there is no need for medical performances or occult mysticism for miraculous effects. The process is simple, but only the sincere party can achieve the desired result. Prabhu, ardent hearing means, is it serious hearing?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, enthusiast. Text 4. Suta Uvacha. Api paladharmarajah pitravat ranjayan prajah निष्प्र निष्पृहः सर्वकामेभ्यः कृष्णपादानुसेवया Shri Uvacha. Shri Suta Goswami said, Apipalat administered prosperity, Rajah, King Yudhishthira, Pitravat, exactly like his father. Ra- Prabhu, how to pronounce that N? That wave above that N? Jnana. I think that Jnana also has an N. So, Raj. Can you pronounce, Prabhu?
I think
I
it's
think
no.
Gyan also.
This is Ranjayan, I think.
Ran.
Yes,
Because, Prabhu,
bro. Then,
in Jnana it is said, yeah. I mean, that first N is yeah sound, then next N is na sound. So, okay, let it be.
Yes, Prabhu.
Ranjayan, pleasing Prajah, all those who took birth, Nispriha, without personal ambition, Sarva, all Kamebhya, from sense gratification, Krishna Pad, the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna, Anusevaya, by dint of rendering continuous service. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Suta Goswami said, Emperor Yudhishthir administered generously to everyone during his reign. He was always like his father. He had no personal ambition and was freed from all sorts of sense gratification because of his continuous service unto the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna. But as mentioned in our introduction, there is a need for signs of Krishna in human society for all the suffering humanity of the world, and we simply request the leading personalities of all nations to take to the signs of Krishna for their own good, for the good of society, and for the good of all the people of the world. So it is confirmed herein by the Maharaj Yudhishthir. Sorry, where am I? Uh, Herein by Maharaj Yudhishthir. Okay, yes, yes. The personality of goodness. In India, the people hanker after Rama Raja because the personality of Godhead was the ideal king, and all other kings or emperors in India uh, controlled the destiny of the world for the prosperity of every living being who took birth on the earth. Here in the word praja is significant. The etymological import of the word is that which is born. On the earth, there are many species of life, from the aquatics up to the perfect human beings, and all are known as prajas. Lord Brahma, the creator of this particular universe, is known as the Prajapati because he is the grandfather of all who have taken birth. Thus, Praja is used in a broader sense than it is now used. Uh, the king represents all living beings, the aquatics, the plants, trees, the reptiles, the birds, animals, and man. Every one of them is a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Bhagavad Gita 14.4. And the king, being the representative of the Supreme Lord, is duty bound to give proper protection to every one of them. This is not the case with the presidents and the dictators of this demoralized system of administration, where the lower animals are given no protection, while the higher animals are given so called protection. But this is a great science which can be learned only by one who knows the science of Krishna. By knowing the science of Krishna, one can become the. Can you scroll down, bro? One can become the most perfect man in the world. And unless one has knowledge in the science, all qualifications and doctorate diplomas acquired by academic education are spoiled and useless. Maharaj Yudhishthir knew the science of Krishna very well. For it is stated here that by continuous cultivation of this science, or by continuous devotional service to Lord Krishna, he acquired the qualification of administering the state. The father is sometimes seemingly cruel to the son, but that does not mean that the father has lost the qualification to be a father. A father is always a father because he has always the good of the son at heart. The father wants every one of his sons to become a better man than himself. Therefore, a king like Maharaj Yudhishthir, who is the personality of goodness, wanted everyone under his administration, especially human beings who have better developed consciousness, to become devotees of Lord Krishna so that everyone can become free from the trifles of material existence. His motto of administ- Can I scroll, Prabhu? His motto of administration was all good for the citizens, for as personified goodness, he knew perfectly well what is actually good for them. He conducted the administration on that principle and not on the Rakshasi or demoniac principle of sense gratification. As an ideal king, he had no personal ambition and there was no place for sense gratification because all his senses at all times were engaged in loving service of the Supreme Lord, which includes the partial service to the living part and complete whole. Okay. They are busy rendering service to the others, leaving aside the hope. Only spoil time and energy as one does when watering the leaves of a tree, when watering the root. Uh, Sorry, where am I? Yeah, without watering the root. If water is poured on the root, sorry, if water is poured on the root, the leaves are enlivened perfectly and automatically. But if water is poured on the leaves only, the whole energy is spoiled. Maharaj Yudhishthira there was constantly engaged in the service of the Lord, and thus parts and parcels of the Lord and the living beings under his careful administration were perfectly attended with all comforts in this life and all progress in the next. This is the way of perfect management of state administration. Wow, such a beautiful Prabhu. I'll save this. I'll read this again. Can you? That was Prabhu. Like, can you share the code? I kind of say people, Krishna is the root. You should give water in the root. But here, it is so practically written. Like these so-called scientific people or whatever, they can also understand.
Yes, Prabhu. It's 112,
1.2 point
112.4.
1.2 112.4.
Yes, Prabhu.
Sure, Prabhu. I'll remember this now. Um, Prabhu, yeah, one more I can read.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
uh, संपदः क्रतवो लोका महिषी भार नहीं भृतातरो महिषी भ्रातरो महि जम्बू जम्बूद्वीप जम्बूद्वीपाधिपत्यं च यशश्च त्रिदिवं गतम् संपदः opulence कृत्वः sacrifices loka future destination mahishi the queens bhratarah the brothers mahi the earth jambudvipa the globe or planet of our existent residence uh, adhipatyam sovereignty cha also yasha fame cha and three divyam celestial planets gatam spread over. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. News even reached the celestial planets about Maharaj Yudhishthir's worldly possessions, the sacrifices by which he could attain a better destination, his queen, his stalwart brothers, his extensive land, his sovereignty over the planet Earth, and his fame. Only a rich and great man's name and fame are known all over the world, and the name and fame of Maharaj Yudhishthir reached the higher planets because of his good administration, worldly possessions, glorious wife Draupadi, the strength of his brothers Bhima and Arjun, and his solid sovereign power over the world, known as Jambudvipa. Uh, here, the sorry, here the word Loka is significant. There are different lokas or higher planets. Um, where am I? Okay, okay. There are different lokas or higher planets scattered all over the sky, both material and spiritual. A person can reach them uh, by dint of his work in the present life, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, BG 9.25. No forceful entrance is allowed there. The tiny material scientists, the tiny material scientists and engineers who have discovered vehicles to travel over a few thousand miles in outer space will not be allowed entrance. That is not the way to reach the better planets. One must qualify himself to enter into such happy planets by sacrifice and service. Those who are sinful in every step of life can expect only to be degraded into animal life and to suffer more and more the pangs of the material existence. And this is also stated in the Bhagavad Gita BG 16.19. Maharaj Yudhishthir's good sacrifices and qualifications were so lofty and virtuous that even the residents of the higher celestial planets were also prepared to receive him as one of them. So, can I read one more?
Yes, bro.
Just one more. Yeah. किं ते कामः सूरस्पारः मुकुन्द मनसो द्विजः अधिजहुर्मुदं राज्य क्षुधितस्य यथेतरे. Kim, what for? They, all those, Kamaha, objects of sense enjoyment, Sura, of the denizens of heaven, Sparaha, aspirations, Mukunda Manasaha, of one who is already God conscious, Dvijaha, O Brahmanas, Abhijahu, could satisfy, Mudam, pleasure, Rajya, of the king, Shuditasya, of the hungry, Yatha, as it is, Itare, in other things. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O Brahmanas, the opulence of the king was so enchanting that the denizens of heaven aspired for it. But because he was absorbed in the service of the Lord, nothing could satisfy him except the Lord's service. There are two things in the world which can satisfy living beings. When one is materially engrossed, he is satisfied only by sense gratification. But when one is liberated from the conditions of the material modes, he is satisfied only by rendering loving service for the satisfaction of the Lord. This means that the living being is constitutionally a servitor and not one who is served. Being illusioned by the conditions of the external energy. Ru, can you scroll down? Okay, one falsely thinks himself to be the served, but actually he is not served. He is servant of the senses like lust, desire, anger, avarice, pride, madness, and intolerance. When one is in his proper senses of attainment of spiritual knowledge, he realizes that he is not the master of the material world, but he is only a servant of the senses. At that time, he begs for the service of the Lord and thus becomes happy without being illusioned by the so-called material happiness. Maharaj Yudhishthir was one of the liberated souls, and therefore for him there was no pleasure in a vast kingdom, good wife, obedient brothers, happy subjects, and prosperous world. Those blessings automatically follow for a pure devotee, even though the devotee does not aspire for them. The example set herein is exactly suitable. It is said that one who is hungry is never satisfied by anything other than food. The whole material world is full of hungry living beings. The hunger is not for good food, shelter, or sense gratification. The hunger is for the spiritual atmosphere. Due to ignorance, only they think that the world is not satisfied because there is no sufficient food, shelter, defense, objects, and objects for sense gratification. This is called illusion. When the living being is hungry for spiritual satisfaction, he is misrepresented. Sorry, what I read. He is misrepresented by material hunger. But the foolish leaders cannot see that even the people who are most sumptuously materially satisfied are still hungry. Yes. And what is that their hunger and what is their hunger and poverty? This hunger, their hunger is actually for spiritual food, spiritual shelter, spiritual defense, and spiritual sense gratification. These can be obtained in the association of Supreme Spirit Lord Shri Krishna, and therefore one who has them cannot be attracted by the so-called food, shelter, defense, and sense gratification of the material world, even if they are relished by the denizens of the heavenly planets. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, it is said by the Lord, Bhagavad Gita 8.16, even in the topmost planet of the universe, namely the Brahmaloka, where the duration of life is multiplied by millions of years by Earth calculation, one cannot satisfy his hunger. Such hunger can only be satisfied when the living being is situated in immortality, which is attained by the spiritual sky far above than the Brahmaloka in the association of Lord Mukunda, the Lord who awards his devotees the transcendental pleasure of liberation. Prabhu, actually, I don't want to stop what to say, but anyone can continue.
Haribol, is there anyone else who wants
Like this whole chapter, I will read again and again. Actually, whole Bhagavatam would be like this only. I might be not paying attention.
Yes, Prabhu, this is
Yes,
very
Prabhu, one sloka may I read?
yes, Shubham, Prabhu, please. You can read.
Now I just dive deeper into it and I like understanding every bit of it. Like it's so practical and it's so what to say. Like if
Yes,
we'll be hearing to scientists and all, these science people will be like, oh my god, this is so practical. This is how we should live. This is how misery should be like going away.
yes,
Madhur
Okay, sure, bro.
Garupadas.
Anyone can continue.
Yes, Prabhu. You want to read
Oh,
again?
sorry. I am unmute. I was
yes, Shubham.
unmute. You didn't heard anything.
Madhur Garupagato Vira Satarava Gunandana Dadasa Purusam Kanchit Dahyamanos Tejasa Mother Garbhom Gata being situated there. Vira the great fighter child Parikshita at that time Brighanandana, ocean of Bhrigu, the Dasha, would see Purusham, the Supreme Lord, Kanjit as someone else, the Yamana, suffering from being burned, Astra, the Brahmastra, Tejasa, temperature, ocean of Bhrigu, Sanaga. When the child Parikshit, the great fighter, was in the womb of his mother Uttara and was suffering from the burning heat of the Brahmastra, thrown by a stammer, he could observe the Supreme Lord coming to him. Death generally involves remaining in trance for 7 months. A living being, according to his own action, is allowed to enter into the womb of a mother by the vehicle of a father's stamina, and thus it develops his desired body. This is the law of birth in a specific body, according to one's past action. When he is awake from trance, he feels the inconvenience of being confined within the womb, and thus he wants to come out of it, and sometimes fortunately prays to the Lord for such a liberation. Maharaj Parikshit, while in the womb of his mother, was struck by the Brahmastra. Released by Sthaman, he was feeling the burning heat. But because he was a devotee of the Lord at once appeared himself within the womb by his all-powerful energy, and the child could see thus that someone else had come to save him even in that helpless condition. The child Parikshit endured the unbearable temperature due to his being a great fighter by nature, and for this reason the word Veera has been used. Yes, Prabhu, one more I can read.
Yes, Prabhu, thank you. Let's read.
Angustamatram amalam spurat puratmolinam abhivyadarsanam syamam tadita vasakam achyutam angust by the measure of a thumb. Matram only amalam transcendental blazing bright gold maulinum helmet appear very beautiful darshanam to look at Samam like a studied lightning was some clothing Achyutam the infallible Lord. He the Lord was only thumb high, but he was all transcendental. He had a very beautiful blackish infallible body and he wore a dress of lightning yellow and a helmet of blazing gold. Thus he was seen by the child. Sri Yes, Prabhu, there is no purpose, so I can continue.
Yes, Prabhu.
श्रीमद्दीर्घचतुर्बाहुं तप्तकाञ्चनकुण्डलं कौस्तुभासं गदापाणिम् आत्मानः सर्वतो दिशं परिभ्रन्तम् उल्काभां भ्रामयन्तं गदां मुहुः and reached Dirgham prolonged, Chaturbahum four-handed, Taptakanjana molten gold, Kundalam earrings, Chhataj Aksham, eyes with redness of blood, Gadapanim, hand with clap, Atmana on, Sarvata all this around, Paribhramantam loitering, Ulkabham like soothing stars, Brahmayantam encircling, Gadam the club Muhu constantly. The Lord was indeed with forehand, a earring of molten gold, an eye blood red with fury, as he loitered about his club, constantly encircled him like a soothing star. Yes, Prabhu is called. It is said in Brahma Samhita chapter 5 that the Supreme Lord Govinda by his one plenary portion enters into the halo of universe and distributes himself as Paramatma or Super Soul, not only within the heart of every living being, but also within every atom of material elements. Thus the Lord is all-pervading by his inconceivable potential. Thus he entered the womb of Putra to save his beloved devotee Maharaj Parikshit. In the Bhagavad Gita 9.13, the Lord assured everyone that a devotee are never to be vanquished. No one can kill a devotee of the Lord because he is protected by the Lord, and no one can save a person whom the Lord desired to kill. The Lord is all powerful, and therefore he can both save and kill as he likes. He became visible to his devotee Maharaj Parikshit. Even in that, even in that awkward position in the womb of his mother, his prowess called in a stage just suitable for his vision. The Lord can become bigger than the thousands of universes and can become smaller than an atom at the same time. Merciful as he is, he becomes just suitable to the vision of the limited living being. He is unlimited. He is not limited by any measurement of our calculation. He can become bigger than what we can think of, and he can become smaller than what we can conceive. But in all circumstances, he is the same all powerful Lord. There is no difference between the some like Vishnu in the womb of Uttara and the full-fleshed Narayana in the Vaikuntha Dham. The kingdom of Godhead, he is Godhead. He accepts the form of Archa Vigraha, worshipful deity, just to accept the service from his different incapable devotees by the mercy of Archa Vigraha, the form of the Lord in material world. Material elements. The devotees who are in material world can easily approach the Lord, although he is not considered by the material senses. The Archa Vigraha is therefore an all spiritual form of the Lord to be perceived by the material devotees. Such Archa Vigraha of the Lord is never to be considered material. There is no difference between the matter and spirit for the Lord, although there is a gulf of difference between the two. In the case of conditioned living being, as for the Lord, there is nothing but spiritual existence, and there is nothing except spiritual existence for the pure devotee of the Lord in his intimate relation with Lord. Thank you, bro, so much.
Thank you so much, Shubham Prabhu. Okay, who will be next?
Prabhu Lepong, Prabhu is not there.
Yes, Prabhu. Maybe his battery ended.
Yes, Prabhu, because he reads very. I am waiting for his reading.
Yes, Prabhu. He ran away just when his turn was coming. Oh, Praveen Prabhu is there. Hare Krishna, Praveen Prabhu, Tanda Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, sorry for joining late. Okay, I was occupied with some other activity. Okay, but
Oh, yeah. Hare Krishna, Praveen, both Dandot Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu, Prabhu Prabhu, Pranjal Prabhu, Gaur Shakti Prabhu, Amit Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Praveen Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
All glories to Sri Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances as well, Prabhu. So when will you complete that work? Okay. Anyhow, you continue with your work, Prabhu. We will.
Oh, I hope before.
Oh, Prabhu, you cut in the middle.
Radhastami,
Oh,
for the
before.
Radhastami.
Before Radhashtami.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Fine. So let me read, Prabhu. Swami Prabhu. Mm, okay. अस्त्रतेजसः स्वगदया निहारम् इव गोपितिः विधमन्तम् अन्निकर्षे पर्यैक्षताक इत्यसौ अस्त्रतेजसः radiation of the Brahmastra Swagadaya by the means of his own club Niharam drops of dew Iva like Gopitiha the sun Vidhamantam act of vanishing Sannikarshe nearby Paryakshata observing Kaha who Ityasau this body Ityasau okay. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. The Lord was thus engaged in vanquishing the radiation of the Brahmastra, just as the sun evaporates a drop of dew. He was observed by the child who thought it to be him. Text 11. Vidhuya tadame yatma Bhagavan धर्मघुब् विभुः मिषतो दशमासस्यां तत्रैवान्तर्दधे हरिः vidhuya having completely washed off that ameyatma the all pervading super soul Bhagavan the personality of Godhead Dharmagup, the protector of righteousness, Vibhuhu, the supreme, Mishataha, while observing Dashamasasya, of one who is dressed by all directions, Tatra eva, then and there, Antaha, out of sight, Dade, became Harihi, the Lord. Translation. While thus being observed by the child, the Supreme Lord Personality of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the super soul of everyone, and the protector of the righteous, who stretches in all directions and who is unlimited by time and space, disappeared at once. Purport. Child Parikshit was not observing a living being who is limited by time and space. There is a gulf of difference between the Lord and the individual living being. The Lord is mentioned herein as the supreme living being, unlimited by time and space. Every living being is limited by time and space. Even though a living being is qualitatively one with the Lord, still quantitatively there is a great difference between the supreme soul and the common individual soul. In the Bhagavad Gita, both the living beings and the supreme being are said to be all pervading. Yena sarvam idam tatam. Yet there is a difference between these two kinds of all pervasiveness. A common living being or soul can be all pervading within his own limited body, but the supreme living being is all pervading in all space and all time. A common living being cannot extend its influence over another common living being by its all pervasiveness. But the supreme super soul, the personality of Godhead, is unlimitedly able to exert his influence over all places and all times and over all living beings. And because he is all pervasive, unlimited by time and space, he can appear even within the womb, maybe. Come down, Prabhu. Within the womb of the mother of child Parikshit. He is mentioned herein as the protector of the righteous. Anyone who is a surrendered soul unto the Supreme is righteous, and he is specifically protected by the Lord in all circumstances. He is the indirect protector of the unrighteous also, for he rectifies their sins through his external potency. The Lord is mentioned herein as one who is dressed in the 10 directions. This means dressed with garments on 10 sides up and down. Okay. He is present everywhere and can appear and disappear at his will from everywhere and anywhere. His disappearance from the sight of the child Parikshit does not mean that he appeared on the spot from any other place. He was present there, and even after his disappearance, he was there, although invisible to the eyes of the child. This material covering of the effulgent firmament is also something like a womb of the mother nature. And we are all put into the womb by the Lord, the Father of all living beings. He is present everywhere, even in their material womb, even in this material womb of Mother Durga, and amongst those who desire to see the Lord. Text 12. Tata sarva gunodarke sanukula grahodaye jajne vamshadharaha Pandor Bhuyah Pandur Ivaujasa Tataha. Thereupon, Sarva, all, Guna, good signs, Udarke, having gradually evolved, Sanukula, all favorable, Grahodaye, constellation of stellar influence, Jajne, took birth. Vamsha Daraha, heir apparent, Pandoh of Pandu, Bhuyaha being Panduhu Iva, exactly like Pandu, Ojasa by prowess. Translation. Thereupon, when all the good signs of the zodiac gradually evolved, the heir apparent of Pandu, who would be exactly like him in prowess, took birth. Purport. Astronomical calculations of stellar influences upon a living being are not superstitious but are factual as confirmed in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Every living being is controlled by the laws of nature but at every minute, just as a citizen is controlled by the influence of the state. The state laws are grossly observed, but the laws of material nature, being subtle to our gross understanding, cannot be experienced grossly. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 3:9, every action of life produces another reaction, which is binding upon us, and only those who are acting on behalf of Vishnu, are not bound by reactions. Our actions are judged by the higher authorities, the agents of the Lord, and thus we are awarded bodies according to our activities. The law of nature is so subtle that even if that every part of our body is influenced by the respective stars, and a living being obtains his working body to fulfill his terms of imprisonment by the manipulation of such astronomical influence. A man's destiny is therefore ascertained by the birth time constellation of stars, and a factual horoscope is made by a learned astrologer. It is a great science, and misuse of a science does not make it useless. Maharaj Parikshit, or even the personality of Godhead, appear in certain constellations of good stars, and thus the influence is exerted upon the body, thus born at an auspicious moment. The most auspicious constellation of stars takes place during the appearance of the Lord on this material world, and it is specifically called Jayanti and is not to be abused for any other purposes. Maharaj Parikshit was not only a great Kshatriya emperor, but also a great devotee of the Lord. Thus, he cannot take his birth at any inauspicious moment. As a proper place and time is selected to receive a respectable personage, so also to receive a personality like Maharaj Parikshit, who is especially cared for by the Supreme Lord, a suitable moment is chosen when all good stars assemble together to exert their influence upon the king. Thus, he took his birth just to be known as the great hero of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. This suitable arrangement of astral influences is never a creation of man's will, but is the arrangement of the superior management of the agency of the Supreme Lord. Of course, the arrangement is made according to the good or bad deeds of the living being. Herein lies the importance of pious acts performed by the living being. By pious acts only can one be allowed to get good wealth, good education, beautiful features. The samskaras of the school of Sanatana Dharma, man's eternal engagement, are highly suitable for creating an atmosphere for taking advantage of good stellar influences, and therefore Garbhadhana Samskara, or the first seedling purification process prescribed for the higher caste, is the beginning of all pious acts to receive a good, pious, and intelligent class of men in human society. There will be peace and prosperity in the world due to good and sane population only. There is hell and disturbance only because of the unwanted, insane populace addicted to sex indulgence. Okay. Text 13. Tasya priytamana raja viprair dhaumya kshipadibihi jatakam karayamasa Vachayitva cha mangalam. Tasya, his Prita Manaha, satisfied Raja, King Yudhishthira, Vipraihi, by the learned Brahmanas, Dhaumya, Kripa, Adibihi, and others also, Jatakam, one of the purification processes performed just after the birth of a child, Karayamasa, had them performed, Vachayitva, by recitation, Cha, also, Mangalam, auspicious. Translation. King Yudhishthira, who was very satisfied with the birth of Maharaj Parikshit, had the purification process of birth performed. Learned Brahmanas headed by Dhaumya and Kripa recited auspicious hymns. Purport. Scroll down a bit, Prabhu. Purport. There is a need for a good and intelligent class of Brahmanas who are expert in performing the purificatory processes prescribed in the system of Varnashrama Dharma. Unless such purificatory processes are performed, there is no possibility of good population, and in the age of Kali, the population all over the world is of Sudra quality or lower for want of this purificatory process. It is not possible, however, to revive the Vedic process of purification in this age for want of proper facilities and good Brahmanas. But there is the Pancharatrika system also recommended for this. Pancharatrika system also recommended for this age. The come down, bro. Come down. The Pancharatric system acts on the Sudra class of men, supposedly the population of the Kali Yuga, and it is the prescribed purificatory process suitable to the age and time. Such a purificatory process is allowed only for spiritual upliftment and not for any other purpose. Spiritual upliftment is never conditioned by higher or lower parentage. After the Garbhadhana purification process, there are certain other samskaras like Srimantonayana, okay, Sadha, I have not completed that line, Prabhu, yet, okay, Sadhabhakshanam, etc. during the period of pregnancy, and when the child is born, the first purificatory process is Jatakarma. This was performed duly by Maharaj Yudhishthira with the help of good and learned Brahmanas like Dhaumya, the royal priest, and Kripacharya, who was not only a priest but also a great general. Both these learned and perfect priests, assisted by other good Brahmanas, were employed by Maharaj Yudhishthira to perform the ceremony. Therefore, all the samskaras or purificatory processes are not mere formalities or social functions only, but they are all for practical purposes and can be successfully performed by expert Brahmanas like Dhaumya and Kripa. Such Brahmanas are not only rare, but also not available in this age, and therefore, for the purpose of spiritual upliftment in this fallen age, the Goswamis prefer the purificatory processes under Pancharatrika formulas to the Vedic rites. Kripacharya is the son of the great Rishi Sardvan and was born in the family of Gautama. The birth is said to be accidental. By chance, the great Rishi Sardvan met Janapadi, a famous society girl of heaven, and the Rishi Sadhan discharged semen in two parts. But one part by one part immediately a male child, and by the other part a female child were born as twins. The male child was later on known as Kripa, and the female child was known as Kripi. Maharaj Santanu, while engaged in chase in the jungle, picked up by the children and brought them up to the Brahminical status by the proper purificatory process. Kripacharya later on became a great general like Dronacharya, and his sister was married to Dronacharya. Kripacharya later on took part in the battle of Kurukshetra and joined the party of Duryodhana. Kripacharya helped kill Abhimanyu, the father of Maharaj Parikshit, but he was still held in esteem by the family of the Pandavas due to his becoming as great as a Brahmana as Dronacharya. When the Pandavas were sent to the forest after being defeated in the gambling game with Duryodhana, Dhritarashtra entrusted the Pandavas to Kripacharya for guidance. After the end of the battle, Kripacharya again became a member of the royal assembly and he was called during the birth of Maharaj Parikshit for recitation of auspicious Vedic hymns to make the ceremony successful. Maharaj Yudhishthira, while quitting the place for his great departure to the Himalayas, entrusted Kripacharya with Maharaj Parikshit as his disciple, and he left home satisfied because of Kripacharya's taking charge of Maharaj Parikshit. The great administrators, kings, and emperors were always under the guidance of learned Brahmanas like Kripacharya, and thus were able to act properly in the discharge of political responsibilities. Text 14. Hiranyam gam mahim graman asti ashwan निपत्तिर्वरान् प्रादात् स्वन्ननं च विप्रेभ्यः प्रजा तीर्थेश तीर्थवित् हिरण्यम gold, gam cows, mahim land, graman villages, asti elephants, ashwan horses, nipatihi the king, varan rewards, pradat gave in charity, swannam good food grains, cha and viprebhyah unto the brahmanas, praja tirthe on the occasion of giving in charity on the birthday of a son, saha he tirthavit one who knows how, when, and where charity is to be given. Translation. Upon the birth of his son, the king, who knew how, where, and when charity should be given, gave gold, land, villages, elephants, horses, and good food grains to the Brahmanas. Purport. Only the Brahmanas and the sannyasis are authorized to accept charity from the householders. In all the different occasions of samskaras, especially during the time of birth, marriage, and death, wealth is distributed to the Brahmanas because the Brahmanas give the highest quality of service in regards to the prime necessity of humankind. The charity was substantial in the shape of gold, land, villages, horses, elephants, and food grains, with other materials for cooking, complete foodstuff. The Brahmanas were not, therefore, poor in the actual sense of the term. On the contrary, because they possessed gold, land, villages, horses, elephants, and sufficient grains, they had nothing to earn for themselves. They would simply devote themselves to the well-being of the entire society. The word Tirthavit is significant because the king knew well where and when charity has to be given. Charity is never unproductive nor blind. In the Shastras, charity was offered to persons who deserve to accept charity by dint of spiritual enlightenment. The so-called Daridra Narayana, a misconception of the Supreme Lord by unauthorized persons, is never to be found in the Shastras as the object of charity, nor can a wretched poor man receive much munificent charity in the way of horses, elephants, land, and villages. The conclusion is that the intelligent men or the Brahmanas specifically engaged in the service of the Lord were properly maintained without anxiety for the needs of the body, and the king and other householders gladly looked after all their comforts. It is enjoined in the Shastras that as long as a child is joined with the mother by the navel pipe, the child is considered to be of one body with the mother. But as soon as the pipe is cut and the child is separated from the mother, the purificatory process of Jata Karman is performed. The administrative demigods and past forefathers of the family come to see a newly born child, and such an occasion is specifically accepted as the proper time for distributing wealth to the right persons productively for the spiritual advancement of society. Text 15. Tamuchur Brahmanas Tushta Rajanam Prashravan Pitam Esyasmin Praja Tantau Purunam Pauravarshabha Tam. Unto him Uchuhu addressed Brahmana, the learned Brahmanas, Tushtaha, very much satisfied, Rajanam, unto the king, Prashrayanvitam, very much obliging, Yeshaha, this, he, certainly, Asmin, in the chain of Prajatantau, descending line, Purunam, of the Purus, Paurava, Rishabha, the chief among the Purus. Translation. The learned Brahmanas, who were very satisfied with the charities of the king, addressed him as the chief amongst the Purus and informed him that his son was certainly in the line of descent from the Purus. Text 16. Shall we continue, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, few more.
Okay. Text 16. Devena prati ghate sukle samsthanam upeyushi rato vonugraharthaya Vishnuna Prabha Vishnuna Daivena, by supernatural power, Pratighatena, by what is irresistible, Sukle, unto the pure, Samstham, destruction, Upeyushi, having been enforced, Rataha, restored, Vaha, for you, Anugraha, Arthaya, for the sake of obliging, Vishnuna, by the all-pervading Lord, Prabha Vishnuna, by the all-powerful. Translation. The Brahmana said, this spotless son is restored by the all-powerful and all-pervasive Lord Vishnu, the personality of Godhead, in order to oblige you. He was saved when he was doomed to be destroyed by an irresistible supernatural weapon. Purport. The child Parikshit was saved by the all-powerful and all-pervasive Vishnu, Lord Krishna, for two reasons. The first reason is that the child in the womb of his mother was spotless due to his becoming a pure devotee of the Lord. The second reason is that the child was the only surviving male descendant of Puru, the pious forefather of the virtuous king Maharaj Yudhishthira. The Lord wants to continue the line of pious kings to rule over the earth as his representatives for actual progress of a peaceful and prosperous life. After the battle of Kurukshetra, even up to the next generation of Maharaj Yudhishthira was annihilated, and there were none who come down, Prabhu. Who there were none 1 second, who could generate another son in the great royal family. Maharaj Parikshit, the son of Abhimanyu, was the only surviving heir apparent in the family, and by the irresistible supernatural Brahmastra weapon of Aswathama, he was forced to be annihilated. Lord Krishna is described herein as Vishnu, And this is also significant. Lord Krishna, the original personality of the Godhead, does the work of protection and annihilation in his capacity as Vishnu. Lord Vishnu is the plenary expansion of Lord Krishna. The all-pervasive activities of the Lord are executed by him in his Vishnu feature. Child Parikshit is described here as spotlessly white because he is an unalloyed devotee of the Lord. Such unalloyed devotees of the Lord appear on the earth just to execute the mission of the Lord. The Lord desires the conditioned souls hovering in the material creation to be reclaimed to go back home, back to Godhead, and thus he helps them by preparing the transcendental literatures like the Vedas, by sending missionaries of saints and sages, and by deputing his representative, the spiritual master. Such transcendental literatures, missionaries, and representatives of the Lord are spotlessly white because the contamination of the material qualities cannot even touch them. They are always protected by the Lord when. Keep going, bro. Keep going down. Okay. They are always protected by the Lord when they are threatened with annihilation. Such foolish threats are made by the gross materialists. The Brahmastra, which was thrown by Aswathama at the child Parikshit, was certainly supernaturally powerful, and nothing of the material world could resist its force of penetration. But the all powerful Lord, who is present everywhere within and without, could counteract it by his all powerful potency just to save a bona fide servant of the Lord and descendant of another devotee. Maharaj Yudhishthira, who was always obliged by the Lord by his causeless mercy. Text 17. Yeah. Tasman Namna Vishnurata. Yeah, that is the original name, Prabhu. Vishnurata is the original name of Parikshit. Okay, Parikshit was his second name. Okay. Tasman Namna Vishnurata iti loke bhavishyati Mahabhaga na sandeho Mahabhagavato Mahan. Tasmat, therefore, Namna, by the name Vishnu Rataha, protected by Vishnu, the personality of Godhead, iti, thus, loke, in all the planets, bhavishyati, shall become well known, Mahabhaga, most fortune, na, no, sandeha, doubts, Mahabhagavataha, the first class devotee of the Lord, Mahan, qualified by all good qualities. Translation. Come down, bro. Translation. For this reason, this child will be well known in the world as one who is protected by the personality of Godhead. O most fortunate one, there is no doubt that this child will become a first class devotee and will be qualified with all good qualities. Purport. The Lord gives protection to all living beings because he is their supreme leader. The Vedic hymns confirm that the Lord is the supreme person amongst all personalities. The difference between the two living beings is that the personality of Godhead, provides for all other living beings, and by knowing him, one can achieve eternal peace. Kathopanishad. Kathopanishad. Okay. Such protection is given by his different potencies to different grades of living beings. But as far as his unalloyed devotees are concerned, he gives the protection personally. Therefore, Maharaj Parikshit is protected from the very beginning of his appearance in the womb of his mother. And because he is especially given protection by the Lord, the indication must be concluded that the child would be a first grade devotee of the Lord with all good qualities. There are three grades of devotees, namely the Mahabhagavata, Madhyama Adhikari, and the Kanishta Adhikari. Those who go to the temples of the Lord and offer worshipful respect to the deity without sufficient knowledge in the theological science and therefore without any respect for the devotees of the Lord are called materialistic devotees or Kanishtadikari, or the third grade devotees. Secondly, the devotees who have developed genuine service mentality for the Lord and thus make friendships with similar devotees only, show favor to the neophytes and avoid the atheists, are called the second grade Madhyamadikari. Come down, bro. Second grade devotees. But those who see everything in the Lord or everything of the Lord, and also see in everything an eternal relation of the Lord, so that there is nothing within their purview of sight, expect the Lord, are called the Mahabhagavatas, or the first grade devotees of the Lord. Such first grade devotees of the Lord are perfect in all respects. A devotee who may, please go to the next page, bro. Devotee who may be in any of these categories is automatically qualified by all good qualities, and thus a Mahabhagavata devotee like Maharaj Parikshita is certainly perfect in all respects. And because Maharaj Parikshit took his birth in the family of Maharaj Yudhishthira, he is addressed herein as the Mahabhagavata, or the greatest of the fortunes. The family in which a Mahabhagavata takes his birth is fortune because due to the birth of a first grade devotee. The members of the family, past, present, and future, up to 100 generations, become liberated by the grace of the Lord, out of respect for his beloved devotee. Therefore, the highest benefit is done to one's family simply by becoming an unalloyed devotee of the Lord.
Okay, last one.
Text 18. Yudhishthiravacha apyesha vamsayan rajarshin punyaslokan mahatmanah anuvartita svidhi yashasha sadhuvadena sat sattamaha. Sri Raja, the all good king Maharaj Yudhishthira, Uvacha said, Happy, whether Yeshaha, this Vamshyan family, Rajarshin of saintly kings, Punya Slokan, pious by the very name, Maha Atmanaha, all great souls, Anuvartita, follower, Svit, it will be, Yashasa, by achievements, Sadhuvadena, by glorification, Sattamaha, great souls. Translation. The good king Yudhishthira inquired, O great souls, will he become as saintly a king, as pious in his very name, and as famous and glorified in his achievements as others who appeared in this great royal family? Purport. The forefathers of King Yudhishthira were all great saintly kings, pious and glorified by their great achievements. They were all saints on the royal throne, and therefore all the members of the state were happy, pious, well behaved, prosperous, and spiritually enlightened. Under strict guidance of the great souls and spiritual injunctions, such great saintly kings were trained up, and as a result, the kingdom was full of saintly people, saintly persons, and was a happy land of spiritual life. Maharaj Yudhishthira was himself a prototype of his ancestors, and he described that the next king after him become exactly like his great forefathers. He was happy to learn from the learned Brahmanas that by astrological calculations the child would be born a first-grade devotee of the Lord, and more confidentially, he wanted to know whether the child was going to follow in the footsteps of his great forefathers. That is the way of the monarchical state. The reigning king should be a pious, chivalrous devotee of the Lord and fear personified for the upstarts. He, he must also leave an heir apparent equally qualified to rule over the innocent citizens. In the modern setup of the democratic states, the people themselves are fallen to the qualities of the Sudras or less, and the government is run by their representative who is ignorant of the spiritual mode of administrative education. Thus, the whole atmosphere is surcharged with Sudra qualities manifested by lust and avarice. Such administrators quarrel every day among themselves. The cabinet of ministers changes often due to party and group selfishness. Everyone wants to exploit the state resources till he dies. No one retires from political life unless forced to do so. How can such low-grade men do good to the people? The result is corruption, intrigue, and hypocrisy. They should learn from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam how ideal the administrators must be before they can be given charge of different posts.
Haribo, Hare Krishna, Sridhar Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna
so much.
Prabhu, Standard Pranam, Srila Prabhupada.
Prabhu, can you read one verse?
Yes, Prabhu, I can read one verse. Can you hear me, Prabhu? Is it clear?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. So, which verse number, Prabhu? Text 19.
Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Standard Pranam, Srila Prabhupada. Text 19 from what? Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter.
Yeah, 112:19.
1 to 90. Yes, Prabhu. Brahmana uchuhu partha prajavita sakshat ikshvaku iva manavah brahmanyah satya sandascha ramo dasharatha yata. Brahmanaha, the good Brahmanas, Uchuhu said, Partha, O son of Pritha, Praja, those who are born, Avita, maintainers, Sakshat directly, Ikshvaku, even exactly like King Ikshvaku, Manavaha, son of Manu, Brahmanya, followers and respectful to the Brahmanas, Satya Sangaha, truthful by promise, Shar also, Ramaha, the personality of God, Rama. Dasa Ratihi, the son of Maharaja Dasharatha, Yatha like him. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace H. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The learned Brahmanas said, O son of Pritha, this child shall be exactly like King Ikshvaku, son of Manu, in maintaining all those who are born. And as for following the Brahminical principles, especially in being true to his promise, he shall be exactly like Rama, the personality of Godhead, the son of Maharaja Dasharatha. Purport. Praja. Praja means the living being who has taken his birth in the material world. Actually, the living being has no birth and death, no death. But because of his separation from the service of the Lord and due to his desire to learn it for material nature, he is offered a suitable body to satisfy his material desires. In doing so, one becomes conditioned by the laws of material nature, and the material body is changed in terms of his own work. The living entity thus transmigrates from one body to another in 8.4 million species of life. But due to his being the part and parcel of the Lord, he is not only maintained with all necessities of life by the Lord, but also is protected by the Lord and his representatives, the saintly kings. These saintly kings give protection to all the prajas, or living beings, to live and to fulfill their terms of imprisonment. Maharaj Parikshit was actually an ideal saintly king because while touring his kingdom, he happened to see that a poor cow was about to be killed by the personified Kali, and he at once took him to task as a murderer. This means that even the animals were given protection by the saintly administrators, not from any sentimental point of view, but because those who have taken their birth in the world have the right to live. All the saintly kings, beginning from the king of the sun globe down to the king of the earth, are so inclined by the influence of the Vedic literatures. The Vedic literatures are taught in higher planets also, as there is reference in the Bhagavad Gita 4.7. about the teachings of the sun god, Vivaswan by the Lord. And such lessons are transferred by disciplic succession, as it was done by sun god to his son Manu, and from Manu to Maharaja Ishwaku. There are 14 Manus in the one day of Brahma. And Manu referred to here in the seventh Manu, which is one of the Prajapatis, those who create progeny. And he is the son of the sun god. He is known as Vaivasvanata Manu. He had 10 sons, and Maharaj Ikshvaku is one of them. Maharaj Ikshvaku also learned Bhakti Yoga as starting of Bhagavad Gita from his father Manu, who got it from his father, the sun god. Later, on the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita came down by disciplic citation from Maharaj Ikshvaku. Later on, the teaching of Bhagavad Gita came down by disciplic citation of Maharaj Ikshvaku. But in course of time, the chain was broken by unscrupulous persons, and therefore it again had to be taught to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So all the Vedic literatures are current from the very beginning of creation of the material world, and thus the Vedic literatures are known as Apauruseya, not made by man. Apauruseya, okay. The Vedic knowledge was spoken by the Lord and first heard by Brahma, the first created living being within the universe. Maharaj Ikshvaku, one of the sons of Vaivasvanata Manu. He had 100 sons. He prohibited meat eating. His son Sasada became the next king after his death. Manu, the Manu mentioned in this verse as the father of Ikshvaku, is the seventh Manu of the name Vaivasvanata Manu, the son of sun god Vivishma, to whom Lord Krishna instructed the teachings of Bhagavad Gita prior to his teaching them to Arjuna. Mankind is a descendant of Manu. This Vaivasvanata Manu had 10 sons, named Ikshvaku, Nabhaga, Drishta, Sharyati, Narishyanta, Nabhaga, Rista, Karusha, Prashadra, and Vasuman. The Lord's incarnation, Matsya, the gigantic fish, was invented during the beginning of Vaivasvanata Manu's reign. He learned the principles of Bhagavad Gita from his father Vivaswan, the sun god, and he re-instructed the same to his son Maharaj Ikshvaku. In the beginning of the Treta Yuga, the sun god instructed devotional service to Manu, and Manu in his turn instructed it to Ikshvaku for the welfare of the whole human society. Lord Rama, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, incarnated himself as Sri Rama, accepting the sonhood of his pure devotee Maharaj Dasharatha, the king of Ayodhya. Lord Rama descended along with his friendly portions, and all of them appeared as his younger brothers. In the month of Chaitra, on the 9th day of the growing moon in the Treta Yuga, the Lord appeared as usual to establish the principles of religion and to annihilate the disturbing elements. When he was just a young boy, he helped the great sage Viswamitra by killing Shubhahu and striking Maricha, the she-demon, who was disturbing the sages in their daily discharge of duties. The Brahmanas and Kshatriyas are meant to cooperate for the welfare of the mass of people. The Brahmana sages endeavor to enlighten the people by perfect knowledge, and the Kshatriyas are meant for their protection. Lord Ramachandra is the ideal king for maintaining and protecting the highest culture of humanity known as Brahmanya Dharma. The Lord is specifically the protector of the cows and the Brahmanas, and hence he enhances the prosperity of the world. He rewarded the administrative demigods by effective weapons to conquer the demons through the agency of Vishwamitra. He was present in the bow sacrifice of King Janaka, and by breaking the invisible bow of Shiva, he married Sita Devi, the daughter of Maharaja Janaka. After his marriage, he accepted exile in the forest 14 years by the order of his father Maharaj Dasharatha. To help the administration of the demigods, he killed 14,000 demons, and by the intrigues of the demons, his wife Sita Devi was kidnapped by Ravana. He made friendship with Sugriva, who was helped by the Lord to kill Bali, the brother of Sugriva. By the help of Lord Rama, Sugriva became the king of the Vanaras, the race of gorillas. He built a floating bridge of stones on the Indian Ocean and reached Lanka, the kingdom of Ravana, who kidnapped Sita. Later on, Ravana was killed by him, and Ravana's brother Vibhishana was installed on the throne of Lanka. Vibhishana was one of the brothers of Ravana, a demon, but Lord Rama made him immortal by his blessings. On the expiry of 14 years after settling the affairs at Lanka, he came back to his kingdom Ayodhya by flower play. He instructed his brother Shatrughna to attack Ravanasura, who reigned at Mathura, and the demon was killed. He performed 10 Ashwamedha sacrifices, and later on he disappeared while taking a bath in the Sarayu River. The great epic Ramayana is the history of Lord Rama's activities in the world, and the authoritative Ramayana is written by the great poet Valmiki. Very nice poem.
Want to read one more?
Yeah, Prabhu. Is it a longer reading session today, Prabhu? Because I joined very late.
Yes, Prabhu.
Haribol, thank you, Prabhu. एषदात सरण्याश्च यथा हि औषीनरश्रुभिः वितनिता स्मानां दौष्यन्तीरिव यज्वनाम्. Eshaha, this child, Data, donor in charity, Sharanyaha, protector of the surrendered, Cha, and Yata, as he, certainly, Aushinaraha, the country named Usinara, Sibihi, Shidi, Yashaha, fame, Vitanita, disseminator, Spana, of the kinsmen, Daushyantiva, like Bharata, the son of Dushyanta, Yachvana, of those who have performed many sacrifices. Translation is offered by 760 Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. This child will be a munificent donor of charity and protector of the surrendered, like the famous king Sibi of the Usinara country. And he will expand the name and fame of his family like Bharata, the son of Maharaj of Dushyanta. Purport. King becomes famous by his acts of charity, performances of yajnas, the protection of the surrendered, etc. A Kshatriya king is proud to give protection to the surrendered souls. This attitude of a king is called Ishvara Bhava, or powerful to give protection in the righteous cause. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord instructs living beings to surrender unto him. And he promises all protection. The Lord is all powerful and true to his word, and therefore he never fails to give protection to his different devotees. The king, being the representative of the Lord, must possess this attitude to give protection to the surrendered souls at all risk. Maharaja Siddhi, the king of Ushinara, was an intimate friend of Maharaja Yayati, who was able to reach the heavenly planets along with Maharaja Siddhi. Maharaja Siddhi was aware of the heavenly planet that he has to be transferred after his death, and the description of this heavenly planet is given in the Mahabharata, Adi 9669. Maharaja Siddhi was so charitably disposed that he wanted to give over his acquired position in the heavenly kingdom to Yayati, but he did not accept it. He went to the heavenly planet along with great rishis like Astaka and others. On inquiry from the rishis, Yayati gave an account of Siddhi's pious acts when all of them were on the path to heaven. He has become a member of the assembly of Yamaraja, who has become his worshipful deity. As confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, the worshipper of the demigods goes to the planets of the demigods. Yanti Deva Vrita Devan. So Maharaja Siddhi has become an associate of the great Vaishnava authority of Yamaraja on the particular planet. While he was on the earth, he became very famous as a protector of surrendered souls and donor of charities. The king of heaven once took the shape of a pigeon hunter bird, eagle, and Agni, the fire god, took the shape of a pigeon. The pigeon, while being chased by the eagle, took shelter on the lap of Maharaja Shibi, and the hunter eagle wanted the pigeon back from the king. The king wanted to give it some other meat to eat and requested. If you would scroll down. The king wanted to give it some other meat to eat and requested the bird not to kill the pigeon. The hunted bird refused to accept the king's offer, but it was settled later on that the eagle would accept flesh from the body of the king of the pigeon's equivalent weight. Oh, very good. The king began to cut the flesh from his body to weigh in the balance equivalent to the weight of the pigeon. But the mystic pigeon always remained heavier. Oh. The king then put himself on the balance to equate with the pigeon, and the demigods were pleased with him. Wow. King of heaven and the fire god disclosed their identity, and the king was blessed by them. Devrishi Narada also glorified Maharaj Sibi for his great achievements, specifically in charity and protection. Maharaj Sibi sacrificed his own son for the satisfaction of human beings in his kingdom, and thus child Parikshit was to become a second Sibi in charity and protection. Daushanti Bharata. There are many Bharatas in history, of which Bharata, the brother of Lord Rama, Bharata, the son of King Rishabha, and Bharata, the son of Maharaj Dushyanta, are very, very famous. And all these Bharatas are historically known to the universe. This earthly planet is known as Bharata or Bharatavarsha due to King Bharata, son of Rishabha. But according to some, this land is known as Bharata due to the reign of the son of Dushyanta. So far as we are convinced, this land name Bharatavarsha was established from the reign of Bharata, the son of King Rishabha. Before him, the land was known as Ilavati Varsha. But just after the coronation of Bharata, son of Rishabha, this land is known as Bharatavarsha. But despite all this, Bharata, son of Maharaj Dushyanta, was not less important. He is the son of the famous beauty Shakuntala. Maharaj Dushyanta fell in love with Shakuntala in the forest, and Bharata was conceived. After that, Maharaja forgot his wife Shakuntala by the curse of Kanva Muni, and the child Bharata was brought up in the forest by his mother. The child Bharata was brought up in the forest by his mother. Even in his childhood, he was so powerful that he challenged the lions and elephants in the forest and would fight with them, as little children play with dogs and cats. Because of the boys becoming so strong, more than the so-called modern Tarzan, the rishis in the forest called him Sarvadaman, or one who was able to control everyone. A full description of Maharaj Bharata is given in the Mahabharata Adi Parva. The Pandavas, or the Kurus, are sometimes addressed as Bharata due to being born in the dynasty of famous Maharaj Bharata, the son of King Dushyanta. So, Prabhu, thank you very much, Prabhu.
Prabhu, thank you so much, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu, this one thing was crazy.
Yes, Prabhu, so much sacrifice by the Maharaj Sibi. So if they do the duties properly, they go to heaven, is it, Prabhu? Like they do the Kshatriya duties properly, if they do the Brahmana duties properly, or if they do the Shudra duties properly, without being a Vaishnava, they go to heaven.
Yes, Prabhu.
This is Varnashram Dharma.
Yes, Prabhu.
Varnashram
And
Dharma is for that purpose, to gradually elevate the conditional soul.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
So
Prabhu, if they go to heaven, wouldn't they become puffed up and again commit
yeah,
sinful
but
reactions?
at least you are pious. You will take birth with some good qualities, you know. You will be intelligent and you will have a good family, you know. So this is better actually. Mm.
Mm.
Now we don't even follow those type of thing. We are all Shudra. We are all going to hell. Which is better?
Mm.
You know? And you know, most of them actually were more than pious. Most of them were very fully realized soul, you know? At that time, yeah, there were so much realized soul. More than now. With that system, you know, you can cultivate so much elevate soul. You know? But now we don't even have this basic what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even us, you know, if we fall down, you know, we give up Krishna consciousness. In the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, it is said that in Canto 1, I think we will read that, you know, sooner. You know, it is said that actually there is no loss. Uh, there is no loss for someone who is devotee. Narada said something like this. So there is no loss. Even if you don't succeed, you will go to the heavenly planet, you know, and then after some time you come back. But this is not a loss actually. The loss is when you will go to the animal kingdom, and you know, or even to hell. You know, this is. But now we are not losing anything. So I think this is really good system. You know, at that time they were cultivated. Elevated soul, you know, everyone was quite high, you know, in there. But now you can see in this Kali Yuga, us, you know, this is very difficult. What to do? We try to practice, and then your sibling, you know, your wife or your son or you, they don't want. They are unfavorable, despite your all your effort, you know, they don't want, you know. So you just end up alone most of the time, because all around you, like, they are not favorable to that. They want to satisfy their senses. But at that time wasn't like that, because the king will make sure that the citizens will follow, and they will have sufficient food, sufficient shelter. You know, everything was nicely arranged so that everyone would have a proper environment to cultivate knowledge, cultivate, you know, transcendental knowledge, and to elevate the consciousness. So the arrangement of the society was heading for that, you know, for that purpose, you know. And now the arrangement of the society is heading for the purpose to go to hell. What to do?
Oh.
So Banashram Dharma is definitely the best thing, you know, according to the nature of what you obtain, you know. Then you are a Shudra, then you do the Shudra duty, you know, nicely. Then you can even go higher than that. If by fortune you meet a sadhu, then you can even go to the spiritual world, you know. It's not you will go to the heavenly planet. No, you can go higher than that. You just need some good fortune, huh, to meet some sadhu, and then you can elevate even more. But now it's very difficult, Prabhu. I guarantee you, for all of us, you know, it's very tough. That's why, you know, once again, association of devotee should not be taken for the granted. Huh? Never. This is some very rare thing, like very precious thing we must always cherish. Always, you know, because in this Kali Yuga, yeah, this is so rare, you know, to find a devotee and to, you know, associate with him. It's rare, bro. So,
Hare Krishna
thank you,
Prabhu,
Hare
which
Krishna.
verse was you talking about? 1517.
Hmm?
1517 Bhagavatam.
Yeah, I think so. It's Narada who were speaking this.
Yes, Prabhu.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, a very well-known verse, you know. I think it is that. Or something 1517, something like
1517.
that.
I have
20.
seen now. Yes, Prabhu. 1517.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah,
Tekva
this is the verse.
Tekdoswadharmam Charanambujam Hare.
And it is the translation. What is the translation? Do you have the translation?
Prabhu, sorry, I have in Hindi because
Oh, okay. Yeah. I will search for it. Thank you, Prabhu. Jai Shri Prabhupada. So sorry, I disrupt the whole thing. Yeah.
No.
Thank you very much. Mancha
Hare
Karpataru Vacha, Kripasindu Vacha, Patitanam
Thank you,
Pavanibhyo
Prabhu.
Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha.
Krishna Kripa Sindhu.
Achal Guru Vishnu Kripa Sindhu Vichya Paditaram Pavani Vishya Vinama.
चेतो दर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादावाग्निर्वापनं श्रेयः कैरवचन्द्रिकावितरणं विद्यावधूजीवनम् आनन्दं बुद्धिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतस्वादनं सर्वात्मास्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम्
नाम गाय भक्तानि सर्वशक्तिस्तत्रापिता नियमिता स्मरणेन काल एतादृशीतो कृपा भगवन् मम पितुर्दैव मे दस्मिहा जन्नानुरागा तृणादपि सञ्चयन तरोरपि सयत्न अमानिना मानदेन कीर्तनीयः सदा हरे
धनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितं वा जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवताद्भक्तिरहैतुकी त्वयि
ऐनन्दतनुजकिङ्करं पतितं मां विस्मयभामुदौ कृपयादौ पादपङ्कजस्थितधूलिसत् विचिन्तय
Nayanam Galadashnu Dharaya Varanam Tatkadaya Ruptayagra Pulakir Nichitam Pugada Savanam Grihini Bhavishiti Yukaitam Nimeshena Chakshusha Saitam Sunyaitam Jagatshadam Govinda Virahirame Aspishya Padarata Pinastuma Adarshana Marmata Karotava Yada Tata Bhavigata Mampato Vastrana Sevana
Vibhu.
Parah
Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. The Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benedictions, living beings, and thus you hundreds of names of Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you invested all your transcendental energies, then not even harder, faster to chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you never so easily approach you by chanting your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
one should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking one should blow than the straw in the street, one should be more tolerant than a tree devoid of all sense of false prestige and ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, Nor do I want a number of flowers. I only want your costliest devotional service, birth after birth.
O son of Maharaj Nanda, Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms of your lotus feet.
Of my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly? When I chant your holy name, when will my voice choke up? When will the hair of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name?
Oh, Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence.
I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly in his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. Shri Siksastagam ki jai, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Bahujanma kare yadi Shravana Kirtan, Tabutana Paya Krishna Pade Premadan. If one is infested with the 10 offenses in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, despite his endeavor to chant the holy name for many births, he will not get the love of God, and that is the ultimate goal of this chanting. The 10 offenses
First,
against the holy name are as follows. First offense. Yes, Subham Prabhu, you can read the first offense.
to blaspheme the devotee who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord.
Second
Consider the
offense to
names of. Yes, Prabhu, you can read.
second offense to consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu.
Third offense, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master.
Fourth offense to blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature in pursuance of the Vedic version.
Fifth offense, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be in imagination.
Sixth
Sixth
offense
offense, to give some interpretation to the holy name of the Lord.
Seventh offense to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord.
Eighth offense, to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, karma kanda.
Ninth offense, to instruct a faithless person or the glories of the holy name.
Tenth offense not to have complete faith in the chanting of the holy names and to hold on to and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success, Krishna Prema.
Let us offer humble obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone just like these are trees, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Pancha kalpatarubhyascha
Kripa Sindhubhyevcha
Vancha kalpatarubhyacha kripasinubhyacha Purnamidabhavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Nanta Kuchi Vaishnav Vrinde Ki Jai Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitai Gora Premanande Hari Hari Bo.
Thank you, Vinny.
Thank you so much for
Thank you
Thank
for
you so
your
much for sharing
precious
your
and valuable association.